Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle. Say hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Say hi, everyone.
Hi everyone.
How are you doing?
How are you
I
doing?
hope you're fine.
I hope you are fine.
Okay, mama.
Bye bye.
Nasema bye bye. Nasema bye bye.
Bye. Love you.
I'll put up with changes. Come pick me up cause I just wanna see the light. I wanna be weightless. Teach me to fly, I won't be coming down. Could somebody wake me up? I don't wanna be here and let the world pass me by. Yeah. I just see her face wherever I look. She's standing in the crowd. So let go. I don't want to, but I'm gonna try. Once you left me, yeah, let a little bit inside. You know, maybe things are gonna be alright. Cause I just wanna see the love.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Let me just adjust this kidogo. It's been a minute since I shot a video, and it feels so unreal for me right now because I feel like I'm now new to this again. I took a break from shooting videos and making YouTube videos because yeah, I just needed the break. So as I was saying, guys, I took a break from YouTube. I actually needed the break. So the reason as to why I decided to step back from YouTube a bit was because I know by now all of you guys know I lost my brother. I lost my brother on the 23rd of January, and I lost him to sickle cell, which I know by now you guys know that my brother and I have been warriors, and yeah, we've been living with this illness from birth. So thank you. I wasn't ready to talk about what happened, and you know when something happens and it happens drastically and everyone has questions on what happened and what went down, how it happened, it gets so overwhelming. So yeah, I just shut down, and I guess I was just dealing with my own trauma and all that. So yeah, it's not been easy because not everyone is understanding, and I realized when you have how is it called, when something tragic happens, when you lose someone, some people might be insensitive, I guess, without knowing. I don't understand, but yeah, they might not really consider how you're feeling at that specific time, so they're more concerned of what they want to know, and yeah, the kind of information they want from you and all that. So I've just been dealing with everything the best way I can, and yeah, here I am right now. I'm actually in Nairobi, and I'm going to explain all that in this video, so bear with me if it's a long video. I'm really going to try my best to make it as short as I can, but yeah, just bear with me. I'm going to start from scratch. I was initially in Nairobi. The whole of December I was in Nairobi. I was at my aunt's place where I'm usually at, and yeah, because December we get together and maybe travel to a place or take a family vacation or something of the sort. But yeah, I'm usually with my cousin Ivy and my aunt and a few other cousins of ours. So when it got to January, I was really eager to go back home to Kisumu. So I don't know, I just had a feeling that I needed to be in Kisumu. I don't know how to explain that feeling, but I just had an urge to go back to Kisumu, and I kept on telling Chris that I really, really want to come back to Kisumu. And I was trying my best to like finish up everything that I was doing so that I could go back to Kisumu and see Chris and also my brother. Because yeah, I had really just missed being in Kisumu. I couldn't explain that because that has never happened, like just having that urge to do something. I didn't know that it was probably God's way of telling me to go back and spend some time with your brother because he was about to, leave. So I went back to Kisumu and I traveled back and I kept in contact with my brother. So as per usual, I was texting him and we were talking and we were making all these plans that we were going to accomplish this year. First of all, I was supposed to get him a passport because I just wanted my brother to travel beyond Kisumu because we spoke, and for me, I can't say I'm well traveled, but I have traveled a bit. I have seen new places, and that's something I really enjoy doing. Love going to new places and just seeing what the vibe is and everything. So I wanted that for my brother because my brother all along, so his whole life has been in Kisumu, like being born in Kisumu, schooling in Kisumu, graduating, getting a job and all that, and now his death being in Kisumu. I just wanted him to come to Nairobi or visit other places, maybe even Tanzania, like the way I have, even for a few days, and then go back to Kisumu. Just see, I just wanted him to see the world the way I see it. So we had a lot of plans and we were supposed to travel together and do some projects together. We had decided that we were going to open a business together also this year, and I can count on the top of my head how many plans we made. We had 7 major plans, things that we were going to do this year to just change our lives and just live a little bit more, but sadly that didn't happen. So when I got to Kisumu, we were still talking via text. I was supposed to meet up with him and he was like, hey, we have many plans that we're supposed to accomplish this year, so where do we start? So I was supposed to meet up with him and we discussed the way we were supposed to, like what we were supposed to do. And my brother really loved good things. For instance, he saw me with an iPhone. I upgraded my phone to an iPhone. So he really wanted to have an iPhone also because he likes challenges. It's something he didn't have, so he wanted to have it and see what the vibe is all about. So I told him that look for the half of the money and I'll try to come up with half of the money, and then we get you maybe a similar phone like mine, even if it was a second-hand phone and stuff, because mine wasn't that expensive, and plus I had been saving for quite some time. So yeah, he just wanted to have the same things that I did. Yeah, so I also wanted that for him, and whenever he'd smile about getting new things or just talking about new things, he would really light up. So that was just, it brought joy to my heart, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that was the first step. He was supposed to come up with half of the phone, sorry, half of the amount. I was supposed to come up with half of the amount, then we get him a similar phone on a budget. And I even went as far as telling him when I'm close to getting the half of the money, then he'll sell the phone that he's using right now and then add to that money, and then we get him the phone. So that was the first thing that we were supposed to do, and then get him a passport. And getting him a passport didn't necessarily mean that we were going to travel outside the country. I just wanted him to have a passport because everyone has a passport. You never know when your luck might change, or so yeah, that was the first step, and then the passport was the second step, and then the business was the third step, and then traveling fourth, like that. So we spoke, and then the next day he called me. No, 2 days later, we still spoke a couple of days, and then 3 days later, he called me and told me he wasn't feeling well. And since it was at night, I told him to go to, where was I? So he called me and told me he was feeling a bit unwell. So I told him to go to the hospital and get a painkiller, and I would see him the next day. So he did that, and honestly, when he went to the hospital, I thought he got a stronger painkiller, but he didn't. He got a mild painkiller and then went back home and tried to sleep. So in the middle of the night, I was texting him, how are you feeling right now? But then he didn't reply, so I knew he was probably worn out from the painkiller, and he went to bed. And waking up, I saw his missed call, so I called him back. And from the way he was speaking, he was not in a good way. So I could hear his voice cracking, and I knew he was in a lot of pain, like from 0 to 100 being the highest. I knew he was at a 120, because honestly, when you get those crises, it's hell. It's painful. It's like someone stabbing you with a knife continuously in the same spot, and it's, I don't know, it's something I can't even wish on my worst enemy. So I told him I was getting ready, and then I was coming to his house to see him. And then I realized he had sent me a text on WhatsApp replying to the message that I had sent him earlier, asking how he was feeling now. He told me he was getting worse, and he just needed me to make him some porridge and bring it to his house when I go to see him. So at that time, I didn't have the flour, the porridge flour, whatever you call it. So I just went and got some fruits for him, and I took a motorbike and went to his house, and I found that he was not feeling well at all. So I again called the doctor, like the one who usually treats us, and I requested him to come over again. But he told me he was there in the morning because my brother had already called him. So I just requested another friend of ours who's also a nurse to come in and just help manage the pain, because I knew he was in a lot of pain. So I sat with him. My friend came, her name is Saida. We all sat with him, bed stories and all that. She gave him a stronger painkiller, some fluids, and he was improving. And I was happy to see he was improving. And he even joined in our conversation, and yeah. So in the process, I got a call from Pamela. We were supposed to meet up because we were supposed to discuss this. There's a project that I wanted to do, like the sickle cell awareness thing, like creating awareness on sickle cell anemia. So she had already scheduled a meeting, and she came all the way from Nairobi to Kisumu, and she was going back in the evening. So I had to squeeze time to just go and meet up with her and the other lady who she was introducing me to, the one who was going to help me create awareness on sickle cell. I told my brother I was going to leave for a short while, like 30 minutes, maximum 1 hour, then I'll be back. So I went there, I told Pamela what was happening, and Ran kept on calling me. He was still unwell. And I kept on calling Edwin. Edwin is also one of the nurses who usually helps us, who really came through for me and for us. So he was away also attending to another patient. So yeah, we just had to wait for him. At that moment, there was nothing I could do because all the doctors and nurses were either far away or at work or busy doing something else. So I finished up my meeting and I decided, because my brother's condition is not that good, I'll take him home with me and I'll just look after him as the doctors treat him and stuff. So I went, took him, bought some medicine again, took him with me to my house, and then Edwin came and gave him antibiotics because we suspected he had maybe an infection or something, and he was supposed to go draw his blood. And yeah, so as we were waiting to get the test done, I brought Ryan to my house. The doctor gave him some antibiotics, some painkillers, and hydrated him again. So yeah, Ryan managed to fall asleep. Actually, I made him dinner, then he ate and he managed to fall asleep. But at around 4 a.m. ish, he woke me up. He called my phone and told me he was in pain, he needed some more painkillers. And I tried to get him the painkillers that I had at home just to help him a bit before the doctor came in again to see him. So yeah, that happened, and I made him porridge. Now I went and got the flour, made him porridge. He took it. I gave him the painkillers that I had just to try to manage the pain before Edwin came back in and checked up on him. So Edwin came in the morning and attended to Ryan and sat with him, and they even storied and all that. And yeah, so Edwin sat with him for quite some time, and then I made them lunch, and Edwin ate, Ryan also ate. I cut some fruits for him, he ate them. I remember he was very thirsty, so I guess he was really dehydrated. I kept on filling his water bottle with water, and I don't know, he was just a good patient. He was following all the rules and trying his best to recover quickly. But then something alarming, he told me he felt some pain in his chest. And I thought it was the normal pain that we sometimes usually feel when we are unwell. Sometimes we feel some pain in our chest. And I told him Edwin was going to come to draw his blood and test it, so we'll know what's happening from there. But for now, the way he's being managed, the way the pain is being managed and everything, I just tried to assure him he'll be okay. So I thought it was just the normal drill, some painkillers, some antibiotics, hydration, and he'll be fine. So yeah, I think Edwin sat with us for about 5 hours or something, and then he went to rest so that he'd come back and take his blood and then take it to the hospital. Like, he was going back to the hospital. So yeah, and I was doing some laundry, and there was a time I think my grandmother called my brother, and she asked how he was doing. Ryan told my grandmother he was improving and he wasn't in that much pain like the way he was earlier, and I was happy to hear that. And as I finished doing the laundry, I was just trying to fold the laundry. Ryan called me and told me he's bored, I should sit with him. And I remember telling him I was folding the laundry in the sitting room, so how about he came to the sitting room, watch some TV with me as I fold the clothes, and at least it would distract him as we and catch up or something. Then he told me he was tired and he didn't think if he'd go to the sitting room, it would be easier for him to go back to the bedroom. So I told him, okay, then it's okay, I understand. Let me just finish folding the clothes and then I come sit with you and we'll story or whatever, we'll catch up. So he was like, okay. Then he told me, I remember I didn't brush my teeth. I didn't carry my toothbrush. And I was like, no, I have another toothbrush. Let me just give you. He brushed his teeth and then he sat there for a while. I refilled his water bottle and I came back, and as I was putting, because I had washed the shears in the guest room, I was putting them back in, and Ryan called my auntie Judy, and he was asking if she was going to come to see him that day, and she told him she was finishing up her engagements, and then she'd come in the evening, or if she won't get time, she'd come the next morning, very early in the morning, just to see him. And Ran was okay, fine. Then when I was putting in the shears, he told me, I'm tired today. And I told him maybe it's just the painkillers and the pain wearing you out. I told him you'll be fine. Yeah, just take heart, you'll be fine. And shortly, he laid down, and he told me to give him a position to lay down because his back was painful. So I tried to give him it's weird when I say give me a position to lay down, because when we are sick and we have our back aches, you just need to sit in one position that would just ease your back and stuff. So I gave him one position and it was working well for him until he got tired and he needed another position. So I was trying to figure out which position to give him. So as I finished up folding the laundry, I was talking to Ivy. Called me, so I was talking to her via video call, and I told her I'm actually with Ryan here. Let me give him the phone so that you can say hi to him. So when I went to give Ryan the phone, he looked like he was drowsy or sleeping. You know how you wake up someone and then they're waking up from that deep sleep or something. So she told me, if he's sleeping, just let him sleep, and when he wakes up, I'll just talk to him again. So I just told Ryan, okay, just sleep if you're sleeping, and you'll talk to her later. Left Ryan sleeping. I sat in the living room, and after like 10 minutes, I thought I heard him snore. So I called out his name, Ryan, and he woke up like this, and I asked him, are you okay? And he told me, he nodded that he was okay. So I just let him sleep again. But it was weird that he was snoring, because I don't remember my brother ever snoring. So that's why I went to check up on him. Then few moments again, a few minutes later, like I think 5-10 minutes later, I wanted to go out to get supper for us, food that I was going to cook. I was planning to cook for him some mincemeat and spaghetti, so I needed to go buy the mincemeat. And so I went to tell him that I'm going out for a few minutes to get whatever I needed for supper, and then I'll be back shortly. So when I tried to wake him up, I called him again. I was like, Ryan. He wasn't responding. So I moved closer, and I could hear him like snoring from a distance. I called him again, Ryan, and he didn't respond. So I went and touched him to see what was happening, and his eyes were like halfway closed, and I could just hear this like, it's like, I don't know, he was struggling to breathe, or I don't know, and it just shook me because I've never seen him in that state, and I've never seen anyone in that state. So I tried calling him again, I touched him and I was like, Ryan, Ryan. And when I called him Ryan, his eyes just went up, like he was, I don't know, his eyes were just out like this, and he kept on just snoring, like removing that sound. So I panicked and I didn't have credit on my phone, so I had to use his phone. So I took his phone and I took his thumb, because his phone has the fingerprint thing. So I took his thumb, actually the index finger, and then I just placed it there, and then I made a call to Edwin, and I told him, I remember telling him, I don't know what's wrong with my brother, but just come. I don't know if he's breathing or not, he's scaring me. And I just told him, leave whatever you're doing, just come now, because I don't know what to do and I'm so scared. And then I hung up, and then I called Chris and told him the exact same thing. Hung up, and then I called my aunt Judy again, and Judy was also taking care of him the first time that he was unwell, because they live closer to each other. So I told her the same thing, and then I hung up. And then I remember Chris got there first, and then he was trying to be strong, I guess, for me. But the step that Ryan was in, that was just scary, and that is something I don't know if I can ever forget, how I found him. So shortly afterwards, Edwin came, and I saw he was rubbing his chest and just trying to, I don't know, do first aid or something, and try to get an ambulance or someone. Just Chris was trying to get maybe a cab. Edwin was trying to get an ambulance. And funny thing, things work in a very weird way, because nothing was available. We couldn't find an ambulance. It was raining cats and dogs. We couldn't find a cab. I called Ivy and I didn't even say anything. I was just crying. And I remember my aunt, Ivy kept on asking me, is everything okay? Why are you crying? What's wrong? And I just kept on saying, Ryan. And I was trying to say it, but it wasn't coming out. So my aunt, I remember, took the phone and she was like, don't cry in front of him. Don't show him that he's sick. This and this. But I don't think they understood the state that he was in. I don't know if he was even conscious or anything. So I tried to explain. And then I called my aunt, my mom's sister. She's away, and yeah, the same thing happened. I tried to explain, but then I was just crying. So I don't know, I thought I was losing my brother in that very moment, and I thought that I was losing him in my house, in my guest room, and that was driving me crazy. So we managed to get a cab, and Chris and Edwin carried him to the cab, and we took him to the hospital, and he was being given oxygen therapy. And I remember hearing the doctor saying that he was crashing, like his oxygen levels were at, I think, 35 or something. Is it 32 or 35? I can't even remember. So after a few moments, he came to it, and he opened his eyes, and I think he was shocked that he was where he was, and he had a very big mask on his face, because that is something he has never seen, aside from when my mom was my mom had it some time back, because she had an accident. She was in an accident and something. So yeah, so it was a crazy time. But yeah, he needed to be admitted, and he was really restless, and he was really trying to remove the mask, but he couldn't breathe without the mask. The mask was helping him to breathe, so I was really trying to explain that to him and telling him everything is going to be okay. This mask is just helping you to breathe well and give you strength. So at that point, I started blaming myself, because instead of just bringing him to the hospital, I took him to my house without knowing. So yeah, I really blamed myself for that, because in my mind I was like, if I took him to the hospital earlier, then I don't know, that would have never happened or something. So he had to get admitted, and he was still on oxygen, and a couple of tests were done, and we found out he had malaria, he had an infection, and then now he was suffering from how's this called, chest syndrome, acute chest syndrome. That is a complication that comes with sickle cell. So it's like, I think when you have sickle cell, you have blood clots, and I think he had a blood clot in his chest or lungs or whatever it is, so it was not helping him. It was blocking the, so I just sat with him, and his friend came, because I called him earlier. He had a car, and I was trying to get him to help us bring him to the hospital, but at that time he was unavailable, so I just told him we were at the hospital. He came and saw him, and my brother even recognized him, and he even greeted him when we were taking him to now the ward where he was being admitted. So when we were transferring Ryan from the emergency room to the ward, that's where he came in, and he was greeting him and all that, but then they had to leave. So my aunt was telling me, since Ryan is being admitted overnight, how about you go home and rest, and then we come back in the morning to check up on him. But then I just thought of how he was, and he was restless, and he was scared, and I was also scared. I just didn't want to leave him alone, because he also kept on removing the oxygen mask. So my fear was, in the middle of the night, what if everyone is sleeping and then he just removes the oxygen thing, and then he can't breathe and he succumbs to it. So I also didn't want to leave him alone, because I knew if I would be in that position, I wouldn't want to wake up and find myself alone in a hospital and with a mask and everything, and I just wanted to sit with him. So I let my aunt go, and Chris went also back home, because he was going to work the next morning, and I remained in the hospital with Edwin. This Edwin is the nurse who was helping us all through. So I remained in the hospital with him, and I'm so grateful, because he stayed there with me and Ryan. He didn't have to, but he did. So we were just there taking care of Ryan. He was very restless. He didn't want to sleep. He just wanted to sit down. He wanted to go home. He was confused and all that. So I just sat with him, and he kept on telling me he's very tired, and I kept on encouraging him to just sleep, and when he wakes up, he'll be okay. Like, he'll have the energy. And I don't know, he was just finding it hard. So I just sat next to him, and I told him, just lay your head here on my shoulder, and just try to sleep. I'm here with you. And then he did that. He slept, but then I could see he was getting tired also from just sitting down and putting his head on my shoulder, and I was also getting tired because my back was starting to get stiff. So we alternated. Then Edwin came, and then now sat with him, and then after a few few moments I also came and sat with him, and yeah, he was still very restless. He wanted to go home, he wanted to sit in the chair. I don't know, he was I couldn't explain what was happening. So he kept on saying, what I remember was, actually he didn't even think he was in the hospital. He thought he was in the village, like my mom's side of the village. And he kept on saying, we're wasting time, we don't have time, let's go. So I don't know, I didn't know what he was talking about, or yeah. So when he tried to rest, there's a time he told me to hold his hand, and I just held his hand with him, and I tried to tell him, just fall asleep kidogo, and when you wake up you have strength. I don't know, I kept on encouraging him to sleep and just rest, because I saw he was using too much energy. He was waking up, removing the mask. He did not feel comfortable with that mask at all. So I think he was very scared also, and I don't know. I honestly don't know what he was thinking. I would have loved to know what he was thinking at that moment. But yeah, the only thing I could do is just hold his hand and just say a silent prayer for him, and yeah. And then the doctor suggested that if he still continued to be restless, then they'd give him a painkiller, because maybe he was in pain and he wasn't in a position to say that he was feeling pain. So the painkiller would reduce the pain and also just maybe help him calm down and sleep or rest or whatever. So yeah, there came a time he was giving the painkiller and he slept, and after a few hours, like I don't know, was it 2 hours or something, and I realized that his breathing had changed, and I asked Edwin, is he okay? And he told me, yeah, he's okay. Maybe he's still congested, like he had the secretions or whatever. Maybe he's just still, I don't know. And then the other nurse came. I just had a weird feeling, because he was now breathing weirdly. He was removing this other sound that he wasn't removing before. So the other nurse came, they tried to adjust him, and I don't know. And then I remember asking Edwin, what's wrong with my brother? Is he okay? And then he told me, let's try to help him. Give me a moment, let's just try to help him. And then I got scared. And then I knew, now that's it. I tried to call my aunt at that time, and she didn't pick up. So I called Aunt Judy, and I just told her to just rush to the hospital, because something was wrong with Ryan. I felt like he was getting worse. And then I was so afraid to just sit there and watch. So I stood by the door. And as I stood by the door, I saw the doctor coming in, Edwin going out, bringing in some medicine, the pump thing for that thing, I don't know how to call it. And I even got more scared, so I was pressuring my aunt to just come, because I didn't want to stay there alone. In my heart, I knew that Ryan was leaving me. So I went and sat at him. I don't know, I just went and sat somewhere. I don't know how to call that place, the place that we were before. It's near the emergency room. I just sat there, and I kept on calling my aunt, and kept on calling Ryan's friend who was driving my aunt, and telling them to hurry up and just yeah, at that time they were really trying to resuscitate him, but that's something I just didn't want to see. So after a few moments, this nurse comes and calls me and tells me that come with me. And I told him, no, I'm not going anywhere with you. And I told him I'm waiting for my aunt, so I'm not going anywhere with you. And he told me, just come with me, I'll hold your phone for you. And I was like, why would you need to hold my phone? I'm waiting for my aunt. Whatever you want to tell me, just tell me when my aunt gets here. She's almost here. And he kept on telling me, just come with me, just come with me. And I wouldn't go. So another nurse came in and told me, the doctor is calling you, just come. And I said, why? I was like, my aunt is almost here, so I'll just wait for her to come, and whatever you want to tell me, you can tell us together. I don't want to listen to whatever you want to say and when my aunt is not here. But I knew in my heart that Ryan was gone. This time I knew he was gone. So they kept on insisting, and I had to give in and just go and listen or whatever, I will see whatever they wanted me to see. So I got there. I stood at the door, and this nurse, he held my hand, and when I was walking towards Ryan's bed and I saw that he was lying there, Edwin was there and the doctor was there and the other nurse was just standing there, and he had no oxygen mask. I knew he was gone, so I decided not to reach to where he was. I decided not to even talk to them, so I just turned back and walked away, because how can I talk to my brother 1 minute and the next minute he's not talking to me and he's not there. Someone who was asking me to just sit down with him and make stories with me. Someone who was just asking me to sit down with him and make stories with him is now no longer there. So that was really heavy on my heart. So I did not want to see him in that state. I did not want to see him gone. That's how my brother died. On the 23rd of January at exactly 4:30 a.m. I lost my brother, so yeah. Yeah. I decided to stop YouTube because it would mean that I was moving on, and my brother is not here, so I was not just okay with that, and I decided to leave Kisumu, because whenever I was in my house, I kept on seeing how I found him. Whenever I would walk towards my room, I kept on seeing how I found my brother. Thank you. Thank you. I kept on seeing how I found him when he was not breathing. I really blamed myself, because if I would just take him to the hospital instead of taking him to my house, and I don't know. I really blamed myself, in short. So that's why I took a step back from YouTube and just work on, yeah. Whew, sorry about that. And I couldn't stay in my house because I kept on seeing him exactly how I found him, barely breathing and dying. So yeah, so I've been trying to deal with my own trauma and everything, but yeah, I think I'm going to end that video here because I feel like it's really draining me and I'm beginning to have a headache. But yeah,
if just for a minute I'd fall asleep and not dream about you. I hate to admit it, I'm out of ideas, I don't know what to do. Most of the times I think I'll make it through, but all that it takes is one image of you and it shivers. Nobody knows the way it shivers. Nobody knows. It hurts just a little when I'm with my friends and we drink till we're done. Yeah. So I can't remember how it would feel to wake up in that bed right beside you. All of the memories I tried to erase just comes back when I'm sober and I see that face and it shivers. Nobody knows the way it shivers. Nobody knows because
thank you so much for staying tuned, and thank you so much for being patient with me, and hopefully I'm coming back and I'll have your support and love, the same love you've always shown me and all that. So thank you so much for just bearing with me and everything, and thank you for being here. And if you have watched this video until this very minute, thank you, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So until next time, I'll see you guys on my next, is it all or in? I'll see you guys in my next video. Shall you want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye guys, we love you.
Love you.
Bye.
You keep me wondering, is our love strong? Just like a love song, baby, it's haunting me. Don't know what you're thinking, it's like I'm sinking deep